Let
Good
the good
morning,
times
everyone.
roll, baby. Here we
Here
go.
we go. As you can tell, I've been talking today's podcast for a few minutes prior to getting started with the recording. And let me tell you guys, this gonna be fun. My name is Jeff. This is the Cyber Pro Podcast, where we come to you twice a week with new episodes with new, interesting, and fascinating people. And let me tell you, Chip Harris fits all three. Holy crap. So here we go. Chip, in a few sentences, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Uh, I am two generations of poor white trash tornado bait from Mississippi. I am a blue collar guy trying to make it in a white collar world. I have I love it when people say, "Oh, we'll just underestimate him." I'm like, "Ooh, this will be fun," because I grew up in a military family, not having any kind of hope in the world except for two: funeral business, farming. Those were the two open options. My family owns a funeral home, and death is boring, and the funeral business is kind of depressing, and cows are not going away anytime soon. So those were the two doors I had open to me. And I decided to follow the path of, getting into the military and becoming a private military contractor. My official job title is I'm a certified ethical hacker, pen tester, forensic investigator, and auditor. I currently work for a three-letter agency right now under contract. And I also work as a teacher for the University of Arizona. So I'm a content creator for a textbook that they are actually writing, and I teach grad students about this wonderful theme park of IT.
Awesome. All right. You know what? Let's roll with that. You talked about open doors, and let's talk a little bit about education, formal and otherwise.
Sure.
So, share with us, as a cyber professional,
Hmm.
what you think about the educational, what's going on in education right now to help prepare the next generation of you.
Okay. So, first off, kids, you're going to need to have one of these. Okay. It's called a keyboard, and the next one's a mouse. And you're going to need to know how to push those keys. Okay. Even though I've got all these certifications and everything, that's a snapshot in time, as I tell people. I got mine many moons ago. I don't need certifications because I'm based on experience, right? I've been doing this, damn near forever. I did 18 years as a private military contractor, and every hellhole war zone you could ever imagine that they could send me to do and work with IT issues, from counter surveillance, counterintelligence, all the way to working with Tyco Telecom on how we're going to get phone service in Afghanistan. I mean, I've done damn near everything you could ever imagine that could be done over there. And I've worked with a ton of three-letter agencies. Okay. And as I tell people like you and people on your podcast and so forth, great, you got certifications, and you're about to graduate from college and you got $180,000 years worth of debt. Congratulations, you're going to get a job, as a help desk analyst, maybe SOC 1, SOC 2, but you're not going to be a red teamer or a blue teamer straight out of the bat because you don't have that experience. You got to get that experience and cut your teeth. So you might be making about $40,000, $60,000 a year. A lot of people in education, and especially in certifications, don't want to hear that, because you got to drop a fair amount of coin to get these certifications that says, I know what the heck it is I'm doing. Okay, well, congratulations. You know what the heck you're doing. If I come into your cubicle right now and I say we're having a security breach, the firewall has been, what ports they breached through, exactly what happened, what's the remedial information I need to be able to take to the board within the next 15 to 20 minutes, produce something. Can you do that? Well, my job as an educator is to educate my, grad students on how to do those things, right? And how to look at, what do logs mean? How's parsing work? How does an IP work? I mean, and that's where it really boils down to. One, you got to be able to read, and we don't read enough in our industry. We just Google or, look at a YouTube video. Well, sometimes you got to pick up a book, sometimes you got to read, and sometimes you have to think for yourself. And that is what we are missing. We are missing creativity, right? Because the educational system, has failed us, at least at the public level. They want you to shut up, sit down, not ask questions. There's only one answer, and don't be creative, right? Follow drills, follow your orders. Well, in IT security, you have to have abstract forward thinking. You have to think outside the box and be able to think like a bad guy. Okay. What are bad guys going to be able to do? Where are your weaknesses? Where are your strengths, right? I am a professionally paid bad guy. people hire me to come in and find, and I'm notorious for DDoS attacks. Because I worked in counter surveillance and counterintelligence. My whole idea is to blow it up, right? So guess what? When I'm coming for you, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for everything, your vulnerabilities, your ports, your routers, your switches. I'm going to dox you. I'm going to steal as much information as I can, because guess what? As I tell my students, China does not care. The Russians do not care. The Iranians do not care, right? So you need to educate yourself on who your enemies are, where your vulnerabilities and weaknesses are, what you can and cannot do for yourself. Because guess what? I mean, I suck at password attacks. Suck. I mean, I admit it. I'd probably have you do it, right? Me, not as much, because I'm not the best thing at doing password cracking, but I'm really good at finding your CVEs and where you haven't patched in over 2 years on that, XP machine that's sitting on somebody's desk that's running payroll. I'm really good at it.
Service back one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you hit on two key words that I want to kind of drill down on and kind of go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. You talked about, breaking in and creativity and thinking outside the box. So
Right.
I think those three terminologies define what's coming next. And when you look at the potential of what is coming next, what do you see?
The potential I see coming next is that we have, a lot of people have thrown all their money into vendor control based systems, right? And that's something in the industry that, hey, it's what's right for you, right? Some companies that, they want to throw all their eggs in one basket. Awesome. Just makes it easier to break, because once I figure out how to get around your Rapid 7 stuff, I can get into your stuff. So it doesn't really matter. Where I see our really biggest, security vulnerabilities, coming up in our nation and in our state, and where I see a huge, gigantic knowledge gap is in OT systems. I deal with cybersecurity a lot with OT systems, and for people that don't know what that is, you have IT technology, which is your server and all the other stuff over here. Your OT technology, and you're dealing with is operational technology, which is your SCADA-based systems, your water treatment, your power, your electrical grids, so forth. So my job right now is to be a bad guy within that space. And professionally, this just came out about 2 months ago. There was a report that came out from the NSA that said we only have a couple hundred of people in this realm that can really do this kind of stuff. Now that's scary. Okay. You talk about a job and a knowledge. I mean, we're getting older. We're getting old. We got people that come in their 20s that want to be able to do this, and work in this space and everything. And it's like we're getting older, and a lot of us are sunsetting our careers, where we need to start teaching these people on how to protect these things. Your electrical grid, your water treatment facilities. The list goes on and on. Gas pipelines. And there's a huge, huge outcry and need, for people that are able to do those things. But yet again, you got to be able to push the keys. You got to know what you're doing, because I crashed a server. No big deal, right? How about crashing a city for a
Yeah.
month? You just can't control alt delete a city or a power grid, or a water treatment facility. It is not that simple. People think it is, but it's not. And that is where our biggest knowledge gap is right now nationally. From a security standpoint, it's a theme park of madrid of problems that are out there, because this stuff is old, incredibly old, and it's not like you can go out there and buy this shit on the shelf. This stuff takes, if you want a diesel electric engine or a cogen engine, that's a 6 months to a 2-year lead time to get one of these things. Okay. And for that's cogeneration of power. They're normally a jet engine, literally a jet engine that produces energy for you, that supplies power to your buildings and so forth. Okay. And about a month ago, I was working with a company, and they said, "Oh, we want to go ahead and do, management on it." That's great. Who's it with? Siemens. Okay, no big deal. Got in touch with Siemens. Everything. They haven't updated this thing in 5 years, and I was like, "Whoa, serious patch management here, kids." But the patches that we would have done for it would have probably caused it to slam on its brakes, going at about 700 miles an hour. it would have exploded and it left at least a 50-foot wide by 40 feet, hole in the ground. And the fan blades that would have shot up about 2 miles in the air come raining down on people. That's a bad day, because, our world, it either works or it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, people die. I will go on the record. People will die. Simple as that.
I'm half chewing on that and half trying to recover with a follow-up question.
Yeah. That's a lot to take in. It's like, hi there. If I click this enter button and I enable this, what will blow up? If something will blow up, or what will it do?
So here's my final question. I think it ties a couple of the pieces together fairly well, and you covered it very succinctly when you said that there is a knowledge gap as well as an experience gap going on here.
Absolutely.
And you've got these.
I dare somebody to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I'll eat my words all day long.
The next generation of professionals coming into this space who have never grown up without an iPhone in their hand, and yet we're talking about systems that are 8-bit Fortran.
Right.
Like, how do we make that leap? What do we do?
Yeah. It is a problem that we assess right now as huge, because you only have 5 major power grids in the world, in our world in the United States, right? You got Texas, which Texas to be in Texas is Texas, right? Don't even get me started on that. But you got, Midwest, East Coast, West Coast, and then Central US. So it's like, last year, about this time last year, what happened in Texas? Their power grid was about this far from going offline, and still 200 people died. Still 200 people died. Lack of power, lack of energy. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? We just roll back the clock, go back in the Wayback Wind machine, and look, at this time last year, 200 people were dead because there was not enough power and heat to go into the actual electrical grid that failed. And then the company, being totally, still charged people, right, for their consumption. So you had some people getting $17,000 electric bills for their home. Now, that's not fair. I mean, I'm a but still, that's bad. I mean, even on my level, that's pretty bad. I mean, that's pretty cold. And that's just being honest there. And that's one of the things that I see is because they never grew up with a Commodore 64 like I did, and my satanic father took the damn thing apart and made me put it together. But guess what? I learned how jumpers work, right? Transistors worked. I learned how to put the motherboard into a machine, right? I mean, the first job I ever had in IT, I turned screwdrivers at Comp USA fixing Apple and Mac PCs. Tech. Nowadays, kids don't know it. I mean, they just don't.
They don't know it because if you take the back of an iPhone off, you destroy it.
Ooh, or you violate the SLA. Or I violated the SLA and the user agreement. Well, my job's to void warranties. That's as I tell people. There's no qualm about that. If you don't take it apart and figure out how it works, how the hell are you going to put it together again and make it work? Well, I'll just send it off to get fixed. Okay, and they're charging $125 an hour to do that. Sure, you pay that bill.
And drop the mic. I think we could go on forever, and we should in a follow-up to this, because you've generated more questions than responses, and that's awesome. I think we should do more of this. But for this one, I'm going to wrap it up and say thank you. And
no problem
to our viewers.
Hey, you made it to the end. Thanks so much. For more episodes, we have 100 of them. You can find them here.